Hi, everybody. This is Doug Little. I'm coming to you as chairman of the Music Commission. The other commission members are involved in making this announcement, and we're very excited. We've been working, as most of you know, on the FWBworship.com website, getting that developed and up and running, and it is and continues to grow. However, for the past few months, we've been working on a brand new project that up until now has been under wraps. So we're fixing to give you information. We've been exploring ways that we could help churches, and particularly folks that are volunteer and part-time music leaders in their church, the everyday worship leader, in practical ways. All of us have extensive ministry background, and I just know in my leadership roles in the church, there come times when having somebody give a fresh look from outside my box can help me see things that I'm staring at and just don't even recognize. So we want to offer that to you. Now, I'm teasing you, but I'm not giving you any details. We asked Josh Riggs to be the point person on putting this proposal all together. But all of us have had our contributions to make to developing the plan. We're going to launch this in an attempt to see how it works and make a first venture. Down the road, we'll have to make changes, I'm sure. But we want to be able, not as the experts with all the answers, but just as people with fresh eyes who care about helping your church have as excellent a worship ministry as you want it to have, and you just need some outside perspective and some pointers. So with that, I'm going to hand the camera off to Joshua Riggs, and he will, and the other guys will explain more. We look forward to answering your questions. We look forward to exploring the opportunities possibly for your church in the near future. Thank you so much.
Well, hey, everybody. As Doug said, my name's Joshua, and I'm here with Brian and Kevin, and we serve on the Music Commission. And we thank you guys for tuning in to this Facebook Live or YouTube Live, wherever you're watching it from. We're going to tell you about an initiative that we've been working on for the last several months, and it's called On-Site Worship Workshops. On-Site Worship Workshops is an opportunity to have an experienced worship leader come to your church to work with your worship teams, your praise team, your band, your worship leader, your song leader, your choir, to work with those teams and really sort of give them, it's almost like a shot in the arm, like a boost and encouragement, practical training as well as spiritual training. And so basically, it's a 2-day weekend where one of us on the Music Commission or an experienced worship leader within our denomination will come to your church, meet with your teams, and it will be customized training for your church. So beforehand, we will work with you to figure out where you are as in your music ministry, your worship ministry, what needs you currently have, what vision you have for the future, and then we will customize the content to be geared towards your church to hopefully provide encouragement, spiritual encouragement, but also some very practical training that can help you along the way. So that's On-Site Worship Workshops. And I want to let you know, we will be in the comments underneath this video. So if you have any questions while we're chatting today, put those in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to you or answer those questions as fast as we can. But to find out all the details, you can go to fwbworship.com/apply. So fwbworship.com/apply, and you'll find out what that means in a minute about applying. But I'm going to turn it over to Kevin, and he's going to talk for a minute. Kevin, you know, this started like almost 7 months ago or so. We started talking about this. Why don't you share a little bit why this kind of came up, how this conversation started?
Yeah, so why on-site worship workshops? The Music Commission exists with our mission to just help support our Free Will Baptist worship ministries, music ministries in our Free Will Baptist churches, and just come alongside, be an encouragement in any way we can. Well, as we look around our denomination, we realize that a huge majority of our churches among Free Will Baptists have maybe volunteer worship leaders, or maybe a part-time music minister, or something of that nature that maybe doesn't have the immediate access to a lot of resources that some of us just intuitively know about, or just haven't been exposed to it, that kind of thing. And so in our mission to come alongside and support Free Will Baptist music ministries, we wanted to be able to offer some kind of service where we could do just that. We could come to your church and help you in the music ministry, help you. You may have a goal out there that you want to raise your music ministry to do this or this or this, and perhaps we could help you accomplish that, just to point you to the right resources and point you in the right direction. And so the reason is just to help the average lay music minister or worship leader that may be volunteer or part-time. Mm-hmm. So that's what we want to accomplish. What our goal is to change your music at your church. Mm-hmm. We don't want to give the impression that, hey, there's this style of music you should be doing and here's how you accomplish it. No, we want to take you where you're at, where your church is, and just help you make any enhancements, improvements, or growth that you would like to see happen. And it doesn't necessarily mean changing your style of worship. We want to work with you within your context, within the culture of your church, and not to change. We just want to give encouragement, and we want to give your worship ministry maybe a boost, I think, as Josh said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting, as you were saying that, Kevin, I was reminded, sometimes you can say something to your team and it carries a little bit of weight, but when somebody from the outside comes in and they say the exact same thing, it's like clicks, like the light bulb goes off. Have you experienced that, Brian?
Oh yeah, a lot.
It's like, so, I mean, that it could be that you're saying all the right things and you just need somebody to come alongside you as the pastor, or maybe you're, like Kevin said, maybe you're the lay worship leader, and you just need somebody to come alongside you and reiterate the things that you're already saying to encourage your teams to improve or take your ministry to the next level. So this is going to help your local church, but beyond the local church, we are hoping that this will help the churches in your area, especially Free Will Baptist churches in your area. So the way it works is you apply to become one of the host churches for one of these on-site worship workshops. And if you are selected as the host church, then we are going to encourage you to promote this event this weekend to the churches in your area. So maybe you have 2 or 3 other Free Will Baptist churches in a 30-mile radius. We want to encourage you to invite their worship teams to come to your facility to be a part of the weekend, so they can also benefit from the training. Now, it won't be exactly customized training for every single church. It'll still be customized for your church if you're the host church, but they still will be able to get some very practical, hands-on learning and training from the weekend. So it's a host church, and then other churches, we hope, that's our vision, is maybe 2 or 3 other churches come together, and so we can have really a big weekend event together of learning and growing together. Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about, so we had a call recently with a few pastors and worship leaders in our denomination just to sort of pitch this idea, to say, what do you guys think about this? Why don't you share? You were on that call. Tell us what they were.
Oh man, it was a good call. We had several tune in from different parts of the country, different ministries in our Free Will Baptist churches, and man, the response was overwhelming. That almost, why haven't we thought about this before? Mm-hmm. And so it was really exciting for me, because when you kind of get in a test and trial, you just wonder sometimes, is what we're thinking, is that really the need of what's going on? And it really was overwhelming to us of, this is a need of our churches, and we love to be on board with this. And almost to the fact of, I I think you're going to get overwhelmed on how many people need this. And so it was just exciting to hear that and to hear their kind of, what their thoughts were on this. And man, this is going to be a trial thing for us as we head into this. There are some things that we've kind of got in mind, but it's kind of like a beta test. When you put stuff out, sometimes there are all types of stuff that have to be reworked, or maybe we didn't think about this, or this doesn't fit in this context. We need to kind of go that way. So as we look at this in the first year, we really want to just make that our test ground, our beta test for this, of just how do we look at this? How is it working? How can we improve? How can we help our churches? And really kind of get feedback on this as well. And so as we look at this in this year, particularly, obviously coming out of 2020, when so much has changed in our churches and we've had to look at that structure, as we move forward, how can we enhance on that? Or, how does that go about in the years to come? So this is going to be a trial for us in the year coming. And as we look and evaluate that on the back end, what we need to make improvements on, what really worked well, and how did that hit home for each church as we serve them. So the discussion with the pastors was awesome. It was, again, overwhelming in their response. But as we look at this, kind of going into this year, how that first year is going to be and how can we make improvements on it as we move forward ourselves.
That really goes back to our mission with the Music Commission of helping everyday people become better worship leaders. Like, this is not, we don't want this to be like we're just telling you what we know. We want this to be as helpful as we can. And that's why this is like, we're going to get the plane off the ground, but we're going to keep working on the plane while it's still flying, because we want it to be the best it can be for you, for your ministry, for your churches. So in addition to the music, though, we also have, we've partnered with the Media Commission. Kevin, why don't you tell a little bit about that?
Sure. So essentially in any worship ministry, you're going to be partnering hand in hand with like the tech ministries. Sometimes that might be the same person overseeing all those things, your sound equipment, your internet, if you're showing anything on a screen, if you do that style, if you're trying to live stream your services, as so many have started doing during this past year because of circumstances we've been in. And so what we did is we met with members of the Media Commission and found out how we could partner hand in hand. And so a church might be interested in one of us coming to talk about the worship ministries and music and those kinds of things, but at the same time need some help with all that tech gear and those kinds of things. And so members of the Media Commission, maybe one member could come alongside us where there'll be a set fee for the Music Commission to come. We can just add on to that fee, and a member of the Media Commission come as well and help your church get to where you want to be and how your equipment runs and how it's set and the best way to optimize the use of all those things and just get you where you want to be in that realm at the same time. And so it's exciting when you think about, we could take our worship ministry a level up and at the same time take kind of our tech ministry and some of those things that we use week to week, how we can best optimize their use to go hand in hand with that worship ministry. So that's an exciting piece where a church could really take a couple strides forward in one weekend in those two areas.
Yeah. Everybody knows it doesn't matter how good you are prepared. If the microphone doesn't work, they're not going to hear it. So having the tech team option is awesome. And we really appreciate the Media Commission stepping up and partnering with us for that. And I hope a lot of churches will take advantage of that. I really do. I think it can be a really encouragement. So the weekend, you might be wondering, well, what does a weekend look like? And by the way, if you're just now tuning in, we're talking about a new initiative that the Music Commission and you just heard the Media Commission are partnering together. It's called On-Site Worship Workshops. And it's a way for your church to apply for one of us to come and be a part of your church for a weekend, a Friday and a Saturday, and really provide encouragement and practical training for your worship and media teams. So if you're just tuning in, if you have questions, put those in the comments below, and we'll be sure to get answers for those questions. Okay. But a workshop weekend is going to look like this. Before the weekend begins, we are going to meet with the pastor and the lay worship leader, and any church leadership that needs to be involved. We're going to meet with them beforehand on Zoom, and we're going to find out just kind of your vision for the music ministry, what you have planned, what you have, your hopes and dreams, what you're currently doing. And then as I said before, we're going to customize the content for your church, for your ministry. So we're not just coming in with a set, curriculum that we're going to just do to every church. It's going to be a customized training for your local church. So for instance, if you have a choir, we'll spend some time talking about how you can improve your choir ministry, how you can run effective choir rehearsals. If you have a band, we'll talk about how you can communicate to your various instrumentalists who no doubt have varying levels of experience. If you have a praise team, we'll talk about how you can work on vocal blend and how you can work to make the praise team the best it can be. Or maybe you just need some guidance on how to plan a worship service. We'll talk with you about that. So really it's wide open on the content, and we will meet with you on the front end to establish that. And then we'll come in on a Friday, probably Friday around lunch or so, get a few things set up, and then meet with your team, have a session Friday evening. And that first session will probably be mainly focused on the spiritual parts of worship, why we worship, the biblical basis for worship, the importance of it, and that sort of thing. And then Saturday will be a full day. Everybody will come back Saturday, and we'll hit the ground running with that customized training, depending on your needs. And then we'll leave Saturday afternoon, evening, because all of us have our own ministries we got to get back to. So it won't happen on a Sunday. It'll be Friday and Saturday, and then you'll be ready for Sunday, hopefully to be an encouragement to your local church. So that's kind of what a weekend will look like. And so now you're wondering, okay, I'm in, I want to do it. How do I apply? So Brian, tell them how they can get involved in this.
Yeah. So Josh mentioned just a little bit ago our website. And so the easiest way to go on to apply, and this is how you need to apply, is go to FWBworship.com/apply. And there's a application process that you'll go through, fill out that application and submit it. And then we'll have an evaluation process of going through these. And there's some questions that's there for you and your team. And as Josh mentioned just a minute ago, one of the things we want to make sure of is that everybody that's on your staff is on board with this. Mm-hmm. So if you're a pastor, getting your worship leader involved in this, or if you're a worship leader, lay or on staff, that your pastor's involved with this as well. So we kind of know from the guts of what's happening how this is going to go. And so that's through the application process. And so as you're watching this video, those applications are live today, guys. And so we want you to go ahead and apply for that and get that process going. There's also a PDF that you can download from the website, FWBworship.com. And it gives you kind of an outlay of what we're talking about and how you can get some information on what your needs are and how those can help and be met by what is coming on board with that too. So any kind of questions that are there, go to FWBworship.com. If you're in the application process and want to apply, just FWBworship.com/apply. And you can get that there on the website and have that available. Mm-hmm. So some of the things that we've been talking about is, this is a cost-effective thing for your church, but there is cost involved as well. So one of the things that we talked about and really kind of put our heads together is we wanted to do something that was beneficial to the church, number one, but not be so out of reach that any ministry could help in this. And so in our pricing structure of what we looked at, we really kind of took that in consideration of where our churches are and even in those ministries. And so as you look at this and as you think about applying, that's how we did our pricing schedule in this as well. So if you're looking at bringing somebody in for the weekend, the pricing structure is going to be $500, and that includes getting your clinician, whoever that's going to be for that weekend from the Music Commission, in for that weekend for your particular church. Josh mentioned a little bit ago having extra churches come in and on board with that. And so all we're asking of that is, as churches come in with you, that they also contribute to that only $100 above that $500 per church coming in. And one of the things that we've talked about over and over again was, this is not a money-making scheme for us. And basically, we're just trying to cover airfare or travel expenses and a hotel stay for your clinician that's coming in for the weekend. And so anything on the back side of that, if we had to go a further distance or some things got, the cost of that was a little over, the Music Commission is going to take care of. Kevin, a while ago, talked about having the Media Commission also involved in this. And one of the things that we're asking, so being part of that is, if you're just wanting something from music standpoint, it's $500 for the church. If you're also wanting a media commission to come and work with the technical side, that's an additional $500 for them to come for the weekend and to work with your tech teams and so forth and so on. So just keep that in mind. We're, again, not trying to make a money-making scheme out of this, but just so we cover costs of airfare or travel expenses as it goes, and then the hotel stay for that Friday night into Saturday, as it were. So that's kind of the pricing structure of this as we move forward. As we look at these applications, as they come into fwbworship.com/apply, we're going to evaluate those. And you may be saying, hey, we're a smaller church. We really don't have that funding available, but we really need this. There are going to be, like I said earlier, as we look at this first year structure, some scholarships that are available as well. And we're going to evaluate as a team how we can apply those scholarships to different churches as their need may be. And man, we'll try to work with you as best as possible and go forward with that. We really are looking forward to being a partner with you in this endeavor, either from the music side or from the media side. So any questions about that, any kind of stuff that you want to look up on that, go to our website, fwbworship.com, and hopefully we can answer that, or in the chats below, kind of send us a chat on that, and we'll try to discuss that throughout. But again, this is live today. So start applying. We love to see some applications come in. And one thing on the back end of that, as we get to a close of the application, we're going to run this through July 22nd. And that date may sound familiar to you. It's the Thursday of the National, as everybody's kind of closing down and taking off. So that day, July the 22nd of the National, that's going to be our closing date for taking applications. So go ahead and get those into us, and we'd love to see and how we can work with your church.
So just a quick summary, Brian, thanks for sharing all that. So the host church is $500 for the music commission, music presenter, the clinician. If you add the media option, the media commission option, it's an additional $500. And then if you're a participating church from the surrounding area, that's an additional $100. And you probably know that, as Brian said, this is not money making. Actually, we are anticipating that the Music Commission will end up funding some of these expenses from our budget, but this is why we exist. So we want to partner with you. In fact, Brian mentioned the call that we had with a handful of pastors a couple of weeks ago, and when we told them the price, almost every one of them said, that's not enough. You're not charging enough. We tried to keep the cost as low as possible so that we can bless you. And like Brian said, we've got scholarships available, at least one, maybe two for sure, churches that we're going to just cover the expenses as much as we can. But one thing we haven't mentioned yet and that is how many churches will be selected. And so we kind of went back and forth on this, on trying to decide what's the best, like what is feasible. And so and again, Brian said it multiple times, this is a trial year, but for this first year, we're going to choose 6 to 8 host churches, 6 to 8 in a calendar year. And that year will run from August through July. So in a calendar year, 6 to 8 churches, that's how many churches will become a host. But if you apply, every church that applies will receive a free 2-hour Zoom coaching call with one of us or all of us with your ministry teams. So even if you're not selected as a host church, if you go ahead and fill out the application, we will reach out to you and we'll set up a Zoom call where we can meet with anyone on your team that you like. Maybe it's your choir or your praise team, and we'll set up a 2-hour call where we can provide some encouragement and some training, some distance training for you guys. So even if you feel like, there's no way I'm going to get selected, just go ahead and fill out the application so you can get that free 2-hour Zoom call, and then that'll be a benefit to you. So Kevin, we're almost done. Talk a minute about what churches will be considered the churches that apply.
Sure. So we realize that this is geared toward, as I said in the beginning, as part of our mission in doing this, geared toward the church that probably has a volunteer or a very part-time person leading their worship meetings. Maybe it's the pastor that's doing it himself, or something of that nature. So in that vein, we realize this is geared toward probably a small to a mid-sized church, not a very large church. And so that your church size, we're looking for that small to mid-size church. We're looking for churches that have involvement in the National Association of Free Will Baptists. Mm-hmm. This is where the support for the Music Commission comes from, for people that, give to our overall Free Will Baptist program and those kinds of things. And we love to fellowship with people we see year in, year out at our National Association meetings, or maybe they've been involved in the mass choir year after year, or some vein like that. And we've seen that involvement and your eagerness to be involved in our National Association. So we'll take that into account. And then we'll take into account your proximity to other Free Will Baptist churches, so that there maybe are some other churches that want to join in with you and those kinds of things. Those are just 3 of the factors off the top that we're going to look at as we try to narrow this down. And hey, we have no idea how many applications we'll receive, but as Josh said, there's a limited amount of time we can be away from our own ministries, our families, and those kinds of things. And so within this trial year of those first 6 churches or so, those are just some of the characteristics we'll take into account as we decide where we're going to go with these on-site worship workshops. Yeah, that's a mouthful, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I used to work for a company called Wonder Workshop, and so that's what come out of my mouth.
So we want you to apply. Like I said, every church that applies is going to get some benefit from this. So go to fwbworship.com/apply and fill out that application. It'll take you about 15 or 20 minutes to fill out the application. It's a very detailed, because we want to get as much information as we can so we can make the best decision that we can on who the host churches should be. And again, we've kept the cost low. We'll work with you, and you'll see all that in the application and on the page at fwbworship.com/apply. So on-site worship workshops, the application's open today, June 1st, and they close on July 22nd, Thursday. So you've got about a month and a half. You're going to hear more about these workshops in the coming months, and at the convention, we'll share about them as well. But we want you to apply and be a part, and we're excited to partner with you at FWBworship.com and the Music Commission. And so thank you guys for tuning in, and hope you guys have a great day. Whether you're joining on Facebook or YouTube, now it's time to get off Facebook or YouTube and go do something else. So you guys have a great day.
Bye. Good talking with you.